I'm going to demonstrate unpacking and setting up the smart SMS Undersink water ionizer, installing it, and then some clips from recent testing and comparing videos I've done. I suggest you keep this box and all the packing materials, pieces, and plugs because you may need it someday if you want to transport it for any reason. These foam pieces are great to secure the ionizer during shipping. Remove the top foam piece and put that aside. Then reach inside and get a hold of the bottom of the ionizer and pull it out as carefully as you can. Put the ionizer on the counter and remove the plastic bag. Also keep that plastic bag. There is a film that covers the entire front of the machine. Whenever you want to, just remove it by picking at the corner and pulling down. Behind the SMS, I have the Smart 9P. That's a countertop model only, and it has a flow control knob on the front, which is handy. You can just make your selections and then pour the water out of the spout that's at the top of the machine. With this particular machine, I have it installed directly to the plumbing, and you can see a teeny tiny hole there where I let the water come through. Now, back to setting up the smart SMS. Remove all plugs and save all these plugs because you are going to need them someday whenever you want to transport the machine. The right fitting is what you use for the water inlet hose. And the left fitting, if you're going to use it as a countertop model, you'll hook your gray hose up to this left fitting. If you're going to install it under the sink, you take the piece that looks just like the right fitting and remove that other acidic fitting and then put the white fitting in its place. So, in other words, if you're hooking it up under the sink, you'll have two identical white fittings on the bottom. The one on the right will be for the water inlet, and the one on the left will go to the acidic faucet. I'm not going to really cover this thoroughly, but the most common way that people hook up their water ionizers is at the sink with a diverter. It's also very easy. Today I'm going to focus on under sink installation. If you could look at the right of this diagram, you see under the regular sink faucet, the first thing you see down there is what they are calling a diverter. I call that a T, but either way, you have to put that in line. I have other videos for that, and I'll link to those to another video for that under this video. Then somewhere along the line, that incoming water hose will come out of that T and you install a small dust filter. It's maybe the size of a piece of chalk or something. And then you just pretty much cut the hose nicely and then put both sides of this dust filter in, making sure the arrow is pointing correctly. I'm going to call this whole hose coming out of that diverter piece or T the incoming water hose. And that will go into the water inlet fitting that is, when you're looking at the base of the machine, it would be that fitting on the right. The IO 600U undersink faucet is really gorgeous and it's fully functional. It has a protective film just like the machine itself that you should remove. And basically, the way you install it, you have to have a hole, like a soap hole in your sink. You remove this nut uh, and then completely. I'm just showing partially. But you see that gasket there? That would sit on top of the counter with your faucet. take the plugs off the hoses and put the fittings that come with it on the hoses before you drop everything down into that drilled hole that you have made. Okay, now here is a piece that you would put where normally the spout would be put. Don't overscrew it. All right, now here's that chart again. I would suggest you study the chart. It really isn't that difficult to install this if you're a handy person, but you might want to get a plumber or a handyman or somebody like that to do it for you. I should note that you will need an electric outlet down under your sink to install this water ionizer under your sink. When you install an ionizer under the sink, you have an option also to add pre-filters to your incoming water line. I like to put ultra water filters into an external housing under my sink because it adds extra protection against chemicals and things I don't want in my water. I'm pouring alkaline water 9.5 from the Enagic machine and also from the acidic hose at the same time. And then I'm basically testing the ORP and the H2 levels and the pH range. So you can see that those are very high, but then in 1 second, I'm going to show pouring level 3 of the Smart 9P, and you will see better results all the way around on all of these levels. The ORP was close to negative 760. The H2 on this tester is showing 1,571 parts per billion. And now I'm testing the pH range, showing the alkaline and the acidic waters. And you can see that the pH range, the chart's going to pop up here in a second, is from about 10 to 5. Now I'm pouring from the Smart 9P water ionizer at alkaline level 3, which is the equivalent of Kangen water 9.5. And we'll go over those results too here in a second. So the ORP is about a negative 800 something, 14 or 15 or something. Okay, and then the next test is going to be the molecular hydrogen or H2 levels, and that's up over 1,624 parts per billion, which is much higher than the Enagic was. And the next test is going to be the pH, and just give it a second here. Putting the drops in. These are reagent drops. And now here's the chart. And it's slightly better. It's like a 10 to a 4 pH. Now here's the summary. We just saw ORP for both ionizers and now H2 and then the pH range. And then I added a couple of slides in here to show the differences of price, and then also warranty is better as well in the Smart 9P. Now, here's some testing I did between the new Smart SMS and the Enagic SD501. And I'm not going to show the whole video because I've got a link to that whole comparison below this video. But just to suffice it to say, it really has virtually the same results as the last video that I just showed you. So Basically the smart, both machines, whether it's the Smart 9P or the Smart SMS, which is also a 9-plate machine, they're both pretty much identical on the inside. And so they also get identical great results. And I'm not saying the Enagic doesn't get great results, it does, but it's not nearly as good as this Smart Ionizer.